California's Golden Coast is underwritten by the David and Lucille Packard Foundation, who also support the good works done by the following organization.
Well, this is my kind of town. We're walking right down the main street of town, Jan. Introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, my name's Jan Gideon.
And tell everybody where we are right now.
We're in the big metropolis city of Moss Landing.
Right in the middle of downtown Moss Landing.
Population of 300.
Okay, Jan is going to be our guide on this adventure. Give us a little bit of the history of Moss Landing, because when you drive into town, you see all these funky old buildings here. The place looks like it's been around for a while.
Yeah, Moss Landing's been around since the turn of the century. Captain Charles Moss, which they named the town after, where the boats used to land, Moss owned it, so they called it Moss Landing. So it was about the 1870s or so. And a lot of the buildings that you see around here have been built for a little fishing village, so guys, fishermen to stay and different things. It's kind of built up since then.
And now it's turned into lots of these old places are antique stores, but they've still kept the character.
Oh yeah, they got all kinds of goodies in all these antique stores. I think there's 20-some antique stores. You see the old caboose over on this side here.
Oh, look at this. This is great. Is this town known for antiques now?
Yes, Moss Landing, that's what this mainly got in town is antiques. You know, we got antiques, good restaurants. It's one of the largest fishing ports here in the Monterey Bay.
Yeah, because before we hooked up with you, as soon as we pulled into town, we went this way instead of turning in on the main street, and we went right by the fishing fleet. This is a huge fishing fleet.
Oh yeah, it's the largest in Monterey Bay. I think there's 400 commercial fishing boats and over 200 pleasure boats right here that leave out of the Moss Landing Harbor.
And what kind of fishing do they do?
Oh, all kinds of good stuff. They fish for salmon, albacore, crab, rock cod, all kinds of good stuff. Whatever's out here in the Monterey Bay, these guys usually try to capture.
All right, so Moss Landing, let's look. Here's downtown Moss Landing looking this way, all the way down the downtown. There's not much going on down there. How many people live here on a permanent basis?
On a permanent basis, 308, I think, is the total
you
there.
You got it down to the exact 308.
308 exactly, I guess, the last census.
And most of the people here are fishermen, or?
Well, kind of a little bit of both. Some of the people here are just local businesses that own the antiques, and then there's a lot of fishermen that live here, and some of them are transit, come from other areas and come here and fish right out.
And do you have many tourists like us coming through here?
Oh, lots of tourists. It's kind of their favorite little spot to stop and do some antique shopping, go out on wildlife tours, go out on fishing trips. So,
boy, you know what amazes me is that the place hasn't grown. It hasn't changed that much. How do you keep it looking like this? Let's get another shot over here. I love these old buildings. How have you kept this charm?
Well, we kind of like it this way. Kind of keep it kind of small, and there's not much room for growth. So
yeah, but a lot of people in a lot of towns all over California like it this way, but haven't been able to hold on to it like you all have.
That's why we think Moss Landing's kind of special, because we keep it kind of small, and there's not much room for growth because we're kind of in a little out of the way place here.
Well, we're going to be spending the day with you tomorrow. We just kind of pulled in this afternoon to kind of get our bearings. We're going to be staying at, you and your wife have a beautiful little bed and breakfast here.
Oh yeah, we're pretty excited about that. We just opened up here this month of April, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Wait till I get to show you it.
All right, so we're going to stay at your bed and breakfast, and we're going to have dinner. Everybody has told me that we have to eat at Phil's Fish
Market, yes.
Fish Market.
Oh yeah, he's kind of a little out of the way place over on the other side of the island there, and he buys a lot of the fish locally from the local fishermen.
And what kind of fish would we have a choice of eating tonight?
Oh, he's got a menu, huge menu there.
It's all fresh fish.
All fresh fish, bought a lot from the local fishermen, like salmon and crabs would be some of the freshest thing you guys will eat tonight.
Boy, we're going to have a great time. We're here in Moss Landing. Watch out, there comes a car.
Finally got a car coming down here.
We're going to be spending 2 days here in Moss Landing, which is right here on California's Golden Coast. Well, after a wonderful night's rest at the Captain's Inn, which is a wonderful inn, very historic, has a great nautical history to it, and after an absolutely fantastic meal of fresh seafood at Phil's, it certainly lived up to its reputation. We have now, well, it's early morning, Captain Jan, and where are we right now?
We're right in the middle of Moss Landing Harbor, just getting ready to go out on a trip on Elkhorn Slough.
We're getting ready to go out on a trip, and looking around here at these boats, some of them are pleasure boats. Obviously, this is a, what is this right here? What kind of a boat is this?
That's a golden oldie there. That looks like a...
Is that a fishing boat?
That's a fishing boat.
Now, the fishermen, some of the fishermen, these are still in the harbor. Others have gone out.
Yeah, it kind of depends on different season. Like the ones back behind us here are the trollers, and the commercial salmon fishing opens up at the 1st of May. So they haven't quite got ready to go yet. But there's other ones out fishing for crabs. Some guys just came in last night from squid and stuff like that.
So different boats go out at different times. We're going to hit this one over here.
We better back up a little bit.
Yeah, you are the captain. And we're getting ready to start out and head out of the harbor. And our guide down here, Heather, introduce yourself to everybody.
My name's Heather Edwards, and
you're part of the crew.
I am. I'm a naturalist on the Elkhorn Slough Safari.
And what's your background, so we'll know that you know for sure what you're talking about
Okay,
here?
Well, I graduated from California State University, Monterey Bay, and I have a degree in marine biology.
Great. Okay, that sounds very like you know exactly what you're talking about. Now, as we go out of the harbor past all of these wonderful boats, and this really gives you a sense of history and a sense of what this place is all about. Bring us up to speed on the history of the harbor, and then we're going to get down to the natural part, which is what this trip really is all about.
Okay, so what happened was Captain Charles Moss wanted to make this area here a great seaport, and it actually was for a long time. Now, Captain Charles Moss, hence the name, Moss Landing. So he made this area a great seaport, and it was, like I was saying, for a long time, but then the Southern Pacific Railroad came in and it took away all his business, but they ended up naming the town after him anyway, so.
Well, it still looks to me like there's a lot of, you know, there are a lot of boats here.
Yeah, now it is, and now it's mostly this area here is a commercial fishing area. It's one of actually the largest commercial fishing ports here.
How many boats are we talking about in this harbor?
Well, I haven't counted recently, but I'd say hundreds.
Now, this is a big one down here. What's the Point Sur?
Now, the Point Sur here is actually the biggest boat in the harbor. It's about 135 feet long. This boat belongs to Moss Landing Marine Labs and the other affiliates. They'll go out and do different types of open ocean research.
So there's ocean research going on here as well.
Oh, yes. If you see this building here, the one with all the windows.
This one right here.
Yes. This is MBARI, the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute. And so it's associated with the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and they do tons of great research. You see Point Lobos here. That boat belongs to MBARI. They have a remote operated vehicle, that little orange box looking thing on the back, and they submerge that down into the depths, and it takes satellite pictures of everything it sees down there.
So there's a lot going on in this harbor. We've got these research vehicles, we've got commercial fishing vehicles here, we've got pleasure craft here.
Yes.
There's a little bit of everything going on.
There sure is.
Is this where the commercial fishing boats come in to unload in the afternoon?
A lot of them do. You'll see the squid fish boats over here, and they'll unload their squid in the morning.
Wow. You know, this just has the feel of an old California fishing town.
It really does. It's a great place.
All right, now as wonderful as this part of the history is of Moss Landing, oh, there's a seal right there.
Yep, that's a California sea lion.
You got to be quick on these things, don't we?
Now, well, if you look straight ahead here, you see that kind of flipper sticking up out of the water there? It kind of almost looks like a shark fin. But that's actually a California sea lion. And they stick their front flippers up like that, their back flippers, and it's actually called thermoregulation.
Thermoregulation?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, they don't have very much fur on those outer extremities, so they'll stick them up out of the water there in order to prevent heat loss. You'll lose heat really fast up in this cold water.
Wow, I've never seen anything like that
There's
before.
a couple of them there. You can see
So
kind of their
those are
noses
just
poking
their
out.
flippers.
Yes, and they'll just float like that on the surface.
Now this is just the tip of the iceberg as to what we're going to see today, because
right.
the whole idea of this journey that we're on, and it's called a safari actually, isn't it?
Right, it's the Elkhorn Slough Safari.
We're going on a safari. Oh, it's so great looking at these things.
Now look at their external ear flaps, you see.
Now see, look, the flipper's still up.
Yep.
He's on his side. That is the strangest looking thing.
See them looking at you. You'll see some with really big foreheads. It's called a sagittal crest. Those are actually the males.
Wow. I've never seen a seal do that before.
Kind of looks like they're waving at you a little bit.
Boy, this is going to be an interesting safari, because we've barely even gotten out of the harbor and we've already seen the sea lion doing the
Regulation.
thermoregulation, and now we're getting ready to see
A California sea otter.
a sea otter, and there he is over there, and he doesn't seem to mind us at all.
No, this weather is actually perfect for seeing wildlife. They'll stay
Look
nice
at him
and
looking
calm.
at us.
Oh yeah, there. Check out that grizzled face there. Now, the older an otter gets, the more grizzled the face becomes. So this is an older otter.
That's why he's just kind of hanging out here. He's not in any rush to do anything.
And you see how he has his front paws, back flippers there. That's also thermoregulation, doing the same things those sea lions were doing earlier.
Now, he's not cold at all, is he?
No, actually, well, these sea otters are actually the only marine mammals that don't have blubber. So instead, they have this really nice, thick fur. And you can see the fur on him. He's resting right now. But what they have to do, they'll groom themselves all day long to put air inside that fur for insulation, buoyancy.
And look at these birds. Now, these are brown pelicans. I know that.
Yes, that's very good. These are our California brown pelicans.
And what are these blackbirds up here on the pier up here?
Those are cormorants. Now, there's a couple of different types up
Look, one
there.
of them's got his wings out. What is that for?
Well, it's not the Batman pose there. Actually, what these cormorants do, they're really deep diving birds. They can actually dive to about 120 feet. And so in order to do that, they have to soak their wings with water, their feathers. So what happens is they need to dry themselves out afterwards. So they'll stick their wings out like that, kind of helps them air dry.
Wow, so we have seen right here an otter, brown pelicans, and cormorants.
Yep, all this stuff.
And we haven't even gotten out. We're still in the mouth of the harbor.
We are still in the harbor.
Boy, this safari, I don't know what lies ahead, but you started off with a bang. There's a lot of life right here in the harbor.
There really is. There is a lot of life here in the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary.
Are we going to see more otters? Are we going to see what
We'll
all?
see tons of different things out here. We have about 300 different species of birds that come around the slough throughout the year. Lots of sea otters, harbor seals. We already saw our sea lions.
We got to get one more shot of this otter before we leave. He's just too good to pass up. Look at that face. That is a great shot of that old sea otter just sitting here, minding his business, starting off his day in style. That gives a whole new meaning to the term laid back. You just wanted to stay here in the harbor because you like those otters, don't you?
It was great. We had 2 or 3 of them working here already. It's going to be a great day, I think.
There's something about otters that captivate you, aren't there?
I don't know what it is. That's that fuzzy little deal there, and it kind of like the face got that little fuzzy face. I think what they're really like.
Well, everybody likes otters except the shellfish people, because those otters eat a lot of shellfish every day.
Oh yeah, they eat about 25% of their body weight every day. But so between humans and otters together, they kind of take a toll on the shellfish.
All right, now even though you don't want us to, we're leaving the harbor, and look where we're going. We're going out under this bridge. Where are we heading?
This is the bridge here is kind of the gateway to Elkhorn Slough since we come underneath the bridge.
The Elkhorn Slough. And Heather, now it's time for somebody like me from the city to ask the burning question, What is a slough?
Well, that's a very good question. Now, a slough is a narrow, winding waterway with lots of mud. So it can really be something like a ditch on the side of the road in Nebraska or something like that. Now, the Elkhorn Slough is interesting because in the winter months, we have the Carneros and Watsonville Creek, which empty into it, bring in fresh water, which actually makes it an estuary, because an estuary is where a stream or a river meets the ocean, or a fresh and salt water mix. But actually, this is a seasonal estuary, because in the summer months, those creeks dry up. So it's a full-time slough and a part-time estuary.
I'm very confused by what you just told me. A slough, how's a slough different from a marsh or a wetland or a river or a creek or a bay? Or, I mean, what makes something a slough? What makes this a slough?
The narrow, winding waterway, lots of mud on the banks. There's mud flats over here. We have the marsh back over here. So that's what makes this an Elkhorn Slough.
And most of the time, a slough is a mixture of salt water and fresh water.
That's an estuary. I confused you, you're right.
Okay.
So an estuary is where fresh and salt water mix.
Okay, is there any fresh water coming into here?
At this time of the year, not so much, but there is in the winter months when the fresh water comes up from the creeks. It's usually more at the very top, but usually the slough remains mostly salt water.
So this is a saltwater slough, and we're looking over here at these beaches, this shoreline over here. It's obviously a place full of life.
It really is. This is a very productive area. We have this main waterway channel. We have the mud flats over here. We have the salt marsh, and then up in the hills over there, that's the upland area, and all that together forms this really rich area.
Now, what goes on in a slough? Who likes to live in a slough?
Well, in this slough, it's actually a nice, safe place for otters and harbor seals like this area, and hundreds of birds come and feed in this area. Because of this mud, there's millions of worms that live in this mud.
Ah, they like the worm.
They do, and it's on the Pacific Flyway. So we get all these different birds coming in, feeding in the slough. The otters come in, it's nice and safe for them. They don't have to worry about their predators, or predators don't come up the slough. Same for the harbor seals.
Now here's a seal coming right up to us.
Oh yeah, earlier we were looking at the sea lions. This is the harbor seal. Heather was mentioned earlier, the sea lions have that little ear flap that we're looking at. These guys have just kind of a hole in the side of their head for their ear.
It's interesting because when you're here, you don't feel like you're in the ocean. You feel like you're in a bay. It doesn't have the same feel unless you've got harbor seals and otters and all these things that you expect to find in the ocean.
I know, it's great. And you come up here and the water's nice and calm, so it's more relaxing than going out in the seas.
Well, is this the ocean or not?
No, actually it's kind of, the water comes in for the ocean, so these guys love it here. It's like paradise. Some of these harbor seals, they rest during the day and then go out in the ocean and feed at night.
So this isn't the ocean?
Oh no, this is just the water. It is actually tidal affected, so the tide comes in here from the ocean, but then it goes back out. So it's just kind of a slough is kind of a backwater of the ocean.
It's the backwater of the ocean.
It's inlet that winds inland.
Before this safari is over, I'm going to get a definition of a slough that I understand, because I imagine most of the people who come on this safari have the same questions. What is a slough, and how do you describe it to them?
Oh yeah, that's one of our most asked questions. What is a slough? And they always compare it to rivers and estuaries and different things. So that's kind of fun to explain it so people come by with education of it.
And why is it important that this slough be preserved?
Oh, because about 90% of our wetlands up and down the coast have either been developed or destroyed, and this is one of the largest ones left, and it's a big migratory flightway for all the birds, and you can see the sea otters, of course, and the harbor seals come back in there and feed and stuff.
But now, wait a minute, just then you called it a wetlands.
Well, it is. It's a combination of things. Like we mentioned earlier, it can be an estuary when we got the fresh water coming in from the rains and the creeks. It can be a slough, and then it's also a wetland area, so it's got a combination of names.
So when you say slough, that's kind of an over definition of a lot of things.
Yes, it really is.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
You're almost there.
All right, where are we heading now?
We're going to head on up here a little further and find some more wildlife to look at.
Boy, look, the sun's come out. Look at this shot out here, looking out here.
Beautiful.
This
beautiful
is
day.
Just beautiful here. Do most people even know this place exists?
Well, that's what's kind of fun for us, because a lot of times people are driving up and down Highway 1 here, and we have this beautiful area, and they don't even know it exists. So it's kind of our little secret here, where all the wildlife to come and look at it.
Wow. The Elkhorn Slough. Is that a seal out there? It looks like a... Look at this thing.
Kind of looks like a little mud puppy there.
It does.
That is a harbor seal.
He's just out here sunning on this little mud island.
That's right. These harbor seals actually like to come up to the slough during the day, and they'll rest up on the banks here during the day. At night, they'll go out and feed on different fish and squid in the harbor.
That
actually out in the
is
ocean.
the strangest thing, just sitting right there.
Isn't he? He's so cute, though.
Captain, slow down just a minute. I want to get a shot of this. This is worth getting a shot of, looking right on this harbor seal.
You can see
Look at
those.
him. He's curious.
You can see those nice big eyes looking over at us.
Wow.
See those short front flippers he has. No external ear flaps. Seals are earless, so they have these little holes in the side of their head instead of ear flaps like we have.
Oh, and look over here. There are a whole group of seals over here. So this is where they hang out.
Yep, you see our signs here. This is a seal rest area. These are
What does that mean, seal rest area?
Smarter seals, they can read there, Joe.
What'd you say, Captain?
These are the smarter seals. They can read here, you can
Yeah,
tell.
they see it says seal rest area, closed zone.
They sealed this off so different boaters, kayakers don't come, and this is an area where they can just rest and not be disturbed.
Now there's
That's a marbled godwit. If you look at him real close, you can see he kind of has two colors on his beak. It's kind of pink at the base and black at the end. And his beak kind of curves up a little bit. I like to think it kind of points up towards God. That's how I remember his name. That's the godwit.
Now, there are a lot of godwits in California?
Yes, there is here, especially in Elkhorn Slough, because the mud is really rich with a lot of worms and stuff. Heather, show me a picture there. What's in one shovel full of mud there?
Wait a minute, what is this?
Now, well, this is all the millions of worms. So one shovelful of mud taken under a microscope, and you get millions of worms. So that's why you see all these birds here pecking in the mud. They come for the worms.
So this mud out here, even though it just looks like mud, that's like a smorgasbord for the birds.
That's a perfect explanation. That's exactly what it is.
Word gets out that the slough is a good place to come and eat.
It is.
Now we've come upon a...
This is a great egret. We were looking at the snowy egret earlier. The great egret's much bigger. He has that, yeah, watch him. You get that? He gets
What's he doing?
He's kind of a stalker hunter. He gets that neck in kind of an S, and he kind of coils it up, and then he'll strike like a snake. He'll stab
So
it.
he's stalking a fish.
Oh yeah, he's looking right now, so hopefully. Oh, he might get him.
How long will he stand there like that?
Well, he's a lot more patient than I am there. Oh, there he got him. I think he got him all right. Well, it's kind of a small one he got him, though, I think.
Gosh. I've never seen anything like that. And he'll just do that all day long.
Oh, yeah, now he's going to sneak up on another, and he'll get himself this right spot. Might turn his head a little bit to get the glare from the sun, and then he'll get him again. See if he do it again. There, he's getting ready. Oh, fish must move a little bit.
You know, this is part of it. Just having the patience to stand here and watch these stories develop.
Oh yeah, sometimes that's what's kind of fun when you come out here. You never know when you come out here what you're going to see. Because like this great egret, he's kind of patient. He'll sit there and wait, and sometimes we won't always get to see him like we're seeing today. But then the snowy egret we were watching earlier, he does a completely different pattern. He actually chases his fish down. He'll stirs his feet through the mud trying to get the fish going. And this great egret's a patient hunter, so he'll wait for his fish to come by.
Do you ever get tired of this?
Oh, that's what's fun about it. Each time we come up here, there's always something different happening. That's why it makes it fun for us. And there are different seasons when different birds are coming through here at different times of year, so we always get to see something new. Watch me, get him again. Oh, got him again.
Boy, what a wonderful adventure. What a wonderful day we have had. Thank you very much. I'm not sure what I expected. This is my first experience with a slough. But it has been a glorious day. Lots of surprises. We've seen a little bit of everything, including a lot of the captain's favorites, the otters. Tell us again how big this thing is.
Well, the Elkhorn Slough actually comes in near 7 miles and it encompasses over 3,000 acres of wetlands.
And who owns this?
There's a bunch of different people that own the lands around the slough, but the waterway is actually an extension of the National Marine Sanctuary, and the wetland areas all belong to the California Fish and Game.
And then there's some private land here too. So it's kind of a combination.
Yeah, and we actually got quite a few responsible neighbors that take care of this place and make it, keep it like it is, kind of special.
Boy, thank goodness they do. Thank you very much. Are you used to people like us coming aboard and just being blown away by what they see?
That's what makes it fun for us. Every time somebody comes and they don't really realize what to expect, and they come out here and get to see all this great stuff.
Boy, we have seen a lot today. Heather, thank you very, very much. You've seen people like us before, haven't you?
Well, it's always a pleasure to see people like you.
Get excited because this is all new and exciting for us.
And it's exciting for us too every time we go out. It's
well,
really fun.
It's been a wonderful day. It's called a slough, and at first glance, it doesn't look like part of the ocean at all. It's much calmer and gentler, but it's a place full of life. It is a place that just takes your breath away when you look at it. The Elkhorn Slough, a real California treasure and definitely part of California's Golden Coast. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Huell Hauser, and I sure hope you enjoyed this adventure on California's Golden Coast. And if you'd like to go on this adventure again, share it with family or friends, or perhaps donate a copy to your local school or library, well, it's available on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.
California's Golden Coast is underwritten by the David and Lucille Packard Foundation, who also support the good works done by the following organization.
30 years of making oceans matter. The Ocean Conservancy.